Steve, we have a time for the meeting. The heat is on, both literally as well as, metaphorically going into this meeting.
Yeah, I mean, there are high stakes, obviously, is the first face-to-face meeting since Joe Biden became president between himself and Xi Jinping. They've met many times before. They've had 5 conversations over the phone or video conference since he became president. They've accumulated some 67 hours face-to-face over the years, of course, as Joe Biden was vice president under Obama. So they know each other, but there are so many sticking issues as the relationship between China and the United States has, in many accounts, deteriorated to the point where they've cut off military to military dialogue. They've cut off some climate change cooperation following that controversial visit by the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan. So there's lots of sticky issues to discuss face-to-face. That conversation will happen today here in Bali starting at 5:30 p.m. We're hearing from Jake Sullivan that it could last about 2 hours, and we're expected to get a press conference or thereabouts. It's going to be a speech by Joe Biden and then questions from the press at 9:30 p.m. So we'll get some more clarity on whether they made some progress on those sticky issues. Again, yesterday I talked to Myron Brilliant. He's the head of international affairs for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. He says the tough issues are not going to be resolved in one meeting, but it's a good start.
There's no silver bullet, Steve, in the U.S.-China relationship, but having a meeting of this sort is critical. You cannot confront the challenges today, whether it's the climate challenge, whether it's trade challenges, whether it's national security, without the two leaders engaging each other.
Now the big question internally in the meetings here at the B20 and then the G20 starts tomorrow is whether there can be some sort of communique coming from the 20 member nations.
Yeah, so what are the chances? I mean, we have seen in past instances where it's been really, really hard to agree on the wording for that communique.
Yeah, the real sticking point, obviously, is whether there can be some sort of condemnation of Russia's invasion of Ukraine as a war. Obviously, it is on the minds of all the participants here at the G20. It was on the minds of the finance minister of Indonesia, Mulyani, yesterday when I spoke to her. It's on the minds of just about everybody, including, of course, the foreign minister of Russia, Sergei Lavrov, who is here in place of Vladimir Putin. He essentially coming out of Cambodia in the ASEAN meeting yesterday, saying, they didn't have a joint communique from that meeting, essentially blaming the United States and the allies for insisting on language that was not acceptable to the Russians. The Russians obviously are not calling their military exercises in the Ukraine as a war. So that is the sticking point right now. Now, Sri Mulyani, the finance minister here of Indonesia, did tell me that there can be other areas of cooperation, whether that's climate change and food security, pandemic response going forward. But the war in Ukraine is obviously a big sticking point.